that's another story. As we do move into the picks and bans here, with Rapha picking the Slash up against the Scale Bearer, that's going to be a very tough ask for Zenaku to get even a frag if Rapha plays to his full potential there, giving Rapha the Slash, but you're kind of caught between two evils. Have to ban one or the other, and he banned the Athena, and you're still stuck with really quite a hard matchup.
Talk about the deep end though, going up against the Slash, and that's a matchup that I think Zenaku would maybe rather not play, but he's going to be forced into it all the same. Corrupted Keep is up next with the Galena and the BJ, and then Awoken. Should we reach that point, the Doom was understandably removed with the Ison and the Nyx. Realistically, do we expect to see Blood Covenant and Corrupted Keep only? Yes, but this is a finals, and this is a Zenaku. The reality is, when the match starts, anything is possible. It's just that Rapha, he's the champ for a reason, right? I think he is the clearest favorite of any specific set we've had today.
Yeah, hands down, right? Like, surely it's the fact that Rapha is Rapha. He's an absolute demigod of the game. He's just ridiculous. Sure, Zenaku was able to make his way to this point to face him, but he barely scrapes by. That matchup versus Maxter did not look favored to him at all until he could barely try and overcome to get us into this position. It was a much closer series than it looks like on paper. It was a great game if you missed it as well. Now you're up against this lunatic, Rapha, the legend from Team Liquid, and it seems like we are ready for the game, Dan. Blood Covenant will be our first map as we step into this one. You excited for a bit of Rapha on the server, mate?
I'm always excited to watch a bit of Rapha. He's someone that always has to do something different. As we've spoken about, like, he just sets new bars. So let's see what he's got in store for us as he takes his first step into the season finals against Zenaku.
Oh yeah. Well, here we go. We open this game up. Zenaku, he's on the big boy. The Scale Bearer, definitely a large lad, bit chunky at times and can do some damage, but with Rapha's sheer speed and grandeur coming out to play, I really don't favour his chances.
No, I mean, there is definitely logic behind picking it in general. The stack will give you always a fighting chance up against a light champion, no matter what happens, but you can just get so exploited. Saying that, effective Scale Bearers are very quick themselves, and so let's see how Zenaku plays it. I've seen him pick it a fair amount, and he is decent at it. Is he good enough to stand on his own? Then that's fine.
Right now, it's a bit of railgun ballet as they just trade each other's firepower and dance around. Zenaku realizing the best ability to evade a rail is to just stand still and hide, but Rapha, he's a human wall hacker. He just knows. His eyes are honed into the smallest details, Dan. He suspected such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to trap or trick Rapha in any way, let alone just standing around a corner. But he's got the first frag.
Okay, here we go. Zenaku coming out to play and getting ready to slay as well as he straight back into the game, causing a little bit of disarray with the railgun. Finds the follow-up tag. Talking of tags, there's a whole lot more of them coming in a rapid succession as well as the Tri-Bolt is knocking on Rapha's door.
Yeah, and Rapha's struggling a little bit right now, but has managed to get into that heavy. Can he get round to pressure this Mega? He definitely wants to, and he has. Look how quick Rapha is on that slash, and this is why it's so difficult. It's a big champion like Zenaku is. He's going to try and run in again, but instead retreats rapidly.
He got the love tap off. He literally just like tapped him with the gauntlet as he jumped over his head.
But you can already see the problems he has to overcome in that Rapha is essentially running rings around him. Even with the bull rush, Rapha was able to get into his face by the time it had expired. So he needs to have a plan, is what I'm trying to say.
You don't have more than the game plan, man. He needs every possible edge he could get going into this. Rapha, launch around the corner. Good adjustment. That was smooth transitioning as well. Straight into the use with the LG. The rail's just as spectacular. The follow-ups here are cinematic as he brings a showstopper straight down onto Zenaku. Takes him out of commission and forces himself forward with a 2-frag lead now. Just the one. Maths isn't a strong point.
One apiece today, mate. That's good maths.
I mean, overall, we probably have enough grey matter for one brain. Maybe.
Zenaku relegated to the lower tiers of the map, and as we saw earlier today, that's never where you want to be. Rapha has complete dominance in the full sound, audio cues, full map control now. Zenaku might try and get onto this heavy. He sees it up, but he's definitely going to take a lot of punishment for it. One rail, nearly two.
The one frag split is all that stands between them both of them. It's not the craziest thing in the world. Zenaku getting juggled with rockets, though, certainly isn't a position he wants to be in. Tries to turn the tempo up, switches it to 11 and charges in. Going for the body slam, but couldn't quite get close enough. Rapha keeps him at arm's length by just slamming explosives into his lips. He's still got the lead. Now a 2-frag lead.
Yeah, and Zenaku is getting away with items, but at the same time you can see he's posing zero threat to Rapha. He needs to get onto the rail desperately. He then needs to try and get onto the high ground. I mean, that's a very tough ask anyway, since Rapha's not going to commit either one of them. But at the end of the day, he's not a threat with what he's doing. He's kind of just playing the map away. And so, kind of again, just facing an inevitable unless he makes a big adjustment at this point in time.
About to hit that 5-minute mark, and Rapha doesn't really need to adjust anything himself. Very comfortable with the way he's playing it. Zenaku, look at the paranoia as well. Knowing how fast that slash can move, he spams both entry points in towards this choke point, trying to pump them full of snowballs. By the time Rapha turns the corner, he just shotguns him down.
You can see that Zenaku was alive for about a minute or so before then, and he only had a nail gun and a lightning gun to work with. So Rapha's doing an amazing job of truly closing out the map. This time with the spawn on the bridge, he does get the 2 key weapons he needs. Can he now try and play that slower pace game and trap Rapha up on the bridge area?
Very systematic use of the rails. Every one of them landing quite nicely. Good plasma trail play as well as he launched himself across. If it would have been a second earlier, it could have been a rocket straight to the face of Zenaku. Instead, he backs off and buys himself a little bit more time to play with. Rapha still just lurking around, sticking to the shadows and trying to be a bit of a nuisance maker.
Yeah, that was good. Good by Zenaku to buy him some space and get the mega, but we can see again, like Rapha's just consistently catching him off guard because of the speed, is getting him in these positions to hit his shots early. Zenaku doesn't even know where his opponent is half the time. Once again, it is only 4-1, so he's done an exceptional job of managing the damage. But now he will take a huge amount of damage if he misses his jump and takes 2 rails and a rocket, nearly a third, but the bull rush is slightly too quick for Rapha.
Rapha playing with the speed as he gets really aggressive now. Launching himself around corners, opens it up with the LG, and another frag is added to his rapidly building tally. 5-1, we're 7 minutes deep into the game, and now he's hungry to start chaining a couple together as well. Using the high octane speed, look at the adjustments as well, the flicks on this man's mouse. He gets right up behind him, drops the finger, out comes the rocket. Good night, Zenaku, as Rapha will tuck him in and read him a nice red time story.
Yeah, and what Rapha's doing so well, and what he does in general so well, is he's making sure he's bullying his opponent, manipulating the map outside of these item pickups. He's forcing these fights in situations where A, his opponent can't back off onto items, and B, he can then himself back off either after retreating or getting the frag. So he's always optimizing his play around the map. Ooh, nice. And he just makes it look so easy.
It really does. He is schooling Zenaku right now. School is in session. Rapha's got his little professor coat on. Got his little name badge. Hello, my name is Shane. Just in case. I mean, you know, you wouldn't know, would you?
No.
He's teaching him some lessons, Dan. I thought you might enjoy that one.
It was one of my favourites.
That's good. I always try and impress you. Oh, Rapha impressing right now, though. He's just doing disgusting things. This is not allowed on Twitch.
Gosh, YouTube will take it, though.
That's pretty meta. That's actually a meta one from you. I didn't expect that. Oh, man.
Yeah, Shane is really showing a masterclass here for his first showing of the day. He doesn't even need a warm-up. He's given up a frag and that made him angry.
Oh, that's tickled me. Rapha tickling Zenaku though, but lethal tickling. Shotguns out. Oh, it's all over for Zenaku, mate. It's all gone wrong. Just shut it down, Rapha.
Oh, but there's still a minute left. He's got his double figures, which is pretty meta, pretty standard now for Rapha. And he is just making it look, again, very, very easy. Plays the items exceptionally well. Zenaku, yeah, he put up a good fight for the first 5 minutes, but as we discussed, it was kind of just, I don't really know, just forfeiting the inevitable, really.
Yeah. I mean, for a teacher, he is damn good on these roller skates. As he makes his move across the map looking so easy, he has just slaughtered Zenaku on this opener, really. And at this point, it's a 12-1 split on the score line. Finally, Zenaku comes back through with another frag, but it's far too little too late.
It is. Yeah, but it's nice. It's showing, once he's over, we want Zenaku to show how he plans to compete and that he can compete with the very, very best. So I think that always has to be, of course, the aspiration. It's one thing to be in the Pro League, it's another thing to be at the top of the Pro League. And so it's just nice to have a glance into what makes Zenaku so special and why he, as we said, why he definitely deserves to be in this league, in spite of being in Poland.
Yeah.
Which is never nice for poor Zenaku.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Stuck in Poland, obviously, at the minute. I suppose the unfortunate fact is the fact that he's stuck in his house, right? Because otherwise,
Poland's a bad place.
No. but more so inside of the league. Obviously, when he's competing in North America, I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I didn't want to be misconstrued, you know.
Take that out of context. Dan hates Poland, by the way.
Exactly.
I can't believe you'd say that on air, Dan.
Push out the boat sometimes.
To be fair, but yeah, no, obviously it does make sense, right? For him to be stuck in Poland when he's competing in the North American side of things, it does hinder him in a lot of ways, and it's not going to be the best spot to be in. Obviously now that's rank 20 in North America facing off rank 1, which is literally opposite ends of the spectrum that he's got to try and deal with as well in terms of the rankings. So there's so much stacked up against him coming into this, which makes it a little bit unfortunate. Obviously the cross-region play is not supposed to get start popping off until Sunday.
Yeah,
that's where this should be happening.
Yeah, exactly. So he's had to deal with it all season. We keep saying yes, he's adjusted. It doesn't matter.
Well, you can only adjust so much.
Exactly, right? It's still going to always affect how you want to play the game. And yes, his opponents often have to adjust as well. But nevertheless, he has to do it every single week. So it's never nice. And he has a lot of prowess to him, mechanically skilled, and has a perfect grasp of the fundamentals overall. It'd be great to see him back on land, because that's where he really showed his true colours.
No, he did look fantastic on land. Obviously, that is one of the bigger things that is a bit of a shame. That's also why I was worried about him actually potentially struggling in a position to attempt to stay in the league and continue on into this the next season now, obviously with Stage 4. But at least he overcame that hurdle. Everything that happens from this point forward for him, obviously, is still just a stepping stone. Whereas we do see Rapha walk away on the first map. It's still a best of 3 as well. Rapha locks it down 12-2. Just looking like Rapha, really. I mean, he's vintage. He is ridiculously good. There's not really much you can say.
No, and I think we've talked about it endlessly, but for me, how much of a shift he's made in the last 18 months to 2 years from being someone that was a very calculated player, solid, to someone that's now, he has all aspects of his game affected. Like how aggressive he was all game long is not someone, not traditionally you would characterize with Rapha. Equally, the amount of shots he hits now mechanically, he stepped up multiple levels. And that's why he's so scary, because he's just taken his game back to the roots and looked at how he can adjust it and improve it. And every single time he seems to be setting new bars.
Yeah, no, he really does. I mean, It is wild. I suppose, literally just in terms of esports as a whole, if you look at his run, I am kind of that we just saw of us at the start of the year, right? Basically, like the last LAN event we were allowed to go to, Dan. The fact that he went undefeated the whole way through, I don't know how many times we've seen a player be able to have a run like that in any esport, honestly.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was phenomenal, and I think he even said he was the first back-to-back winner of that event for Quake, so he was hugely grateful and pumped by that victory.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, as you said, like the standard of Quake now is as high as it's ever been, so to go undefeated in terms of maps as well, that's a true achievement.
And he's still trying to add some more achievements to that list. He really doesn't want to drop a game, it seems, coming into this tournament either, as Rapha already starts it off quite well. He busted out the double shotty, and Zenaku was introduced to Big Papa Pump and Big Uncle Pump as both of the shotguns popped off. Rapha's already got another one as well. We're 45 seconds into the game, Dan.
Yeah, it's actually mind-blowing how easy he makes it look sometimes. Like when you've got everyone else in the league that has to grind out results, and then he just walks into the server and just, yeah, picks up 3 frags in a minute.
It is wild. Rapha on the hunt straight away again. Third frag. Looking for a fourth. Wants to make it a nice clean quad. Zenaku is out chucking snowballs all over the gaff. Drops the totem to keep himself alive, but the sustainability won't keep him in the game for much longer. Just long enough to see that rocket casting towards him. Here come both of the shotguns. Oh, Rapha a bit indecisive about what weapon he wants to try and wield here as he dropped down, and Zenaku is just sprinting! Oh no, Rapha!
Oh,
that's disgusting.
The problem is Zenaku's not doing enough damage to slow the ons. This is why it's going to be 6-0 in 2 minutes. And that's not a good sign at the best of times. I don't think I've actually seen him use any weapon except the nail gun either. Because Rapha's just strangling the map. This is almost GG territory.
It's just wild how it's been going.
Oh no, he's missed the heavy, but he gets the frag. Zenaku doesn't need another weapon. Snowball's doing the job.
All he needs to play with, mate. Actually starting to make a bit of a chip back against Rapha at least. 7-2. No, we're not 7 minutes in. We're nearly 3 minutes into the game. But Zenaku's at least starting to make a little bit of a comeback already into this one. The Mega has respawned as well, so we can try and make his dive across. But he doesn't really have the confidence to do so, nor does he have any life left.
So nice. That was so nice by Rapha. To read that Zenaku didn't have the health or armor to commit to the Mega, and instead to back off and steal away the light, catching him completely off guard. Sign of real confidence, which is what you associate with Rapha.
Yeah. Pure unadulterated action from the big man himself. Continuously busting out both of these shotties and wanting to do something dangerous with them. Wards Zenaku off for the minute. Slightly evades the shots that come towards him as he peeks up in the game of whack-a-mole. He sits Zenaku down once more. Pumping him full of lightning, and then continue again to strike him once more. Rapha's just having a field day with it, Dan. He's low on HP, but he doesn't give a damn. Still willing to just play on an off angle and wait for a push to come through from Zenaku.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get down here. Zenaku will have to forfeit a lot of health armor for this kill, if he can even get it, and he decides to back off himself. So Rapha lives to fight another day. That's the double shotgun if he needs to use it. But instead can and will back off. Might even be able to steal away this heavy. After all that work as well. Doesn't get it, but doesn't matter. He's still got a 7 frank buffer to work with.
Rapha gonna be blown to bits there as Zenaku plays with a rocket jump. That was really nice for him. Smooth moves in the calculation. Launches himself up to get ahead of him. A beautiful frag to pick up. But can he actually maintain that? Is there any chance of consistency to start to come through? Do a couple more of those?
Yeah, but Rapha did an immense amount of damage just for that frag as well, so it's what Zenaku needs to be wary of. He does have time to actually bring this back into a competitive game. Obviously 6 frags is a decent lead, but also Corrupted Keep is a map where you can rack them up quickly, as we've seen off the start. But doing it against Rapha is another story. See how well Rapha plays that choke point, not only keeping Zenaku out, but taking away all of his health and armor that he was working with.
Ooh. My god. He's just torn him to shreds. Also, relocates rapidly as well, using the rocket to thrust himself through the teleporter and pop out the other side, ready to try and pop the head off of Zenaku once more. He got the gauntlet out! That's the second time he's trying to go for a cheeky play like that.
He hit it.
He did indeed. He gave him a little stroke on the back of the neck.
Yeah, and I think Rapha's one of the players as well that his weapon choices always seems to be on point. Recognizes situations so quickly and what he should be doing in them. Like a lot of other players previously might have tried to commit for that heavy, but he instead just plays in the choke point, whips out the heavy machine gun and deals maximal damage rather than taking anything in return.
Rapha, 2 LGs out, and 1 Zenaku out of commission as he'll tear his way straight through him. At this point, it's a 12-3 split on the scoreline, and he is just doing Rapha level things. Rocket Jump comes back up as well, as he's hungry to get into position back towards the Mega and make a mockery out of Zenaku once more.
Yeah, always make sure he's in a fighting position, using his audio cues to track around Zenaku. Zenaku just needs to run.
He does, but I mean, the only thing he's really going to be saving at that point would just be his overall KD. There's not really much else that can be done. In terms of saving the game, it's really just way too far out of hand. Also, if Rapha wants to, he could just slow down the tempo, and I mean, the game's basically done at that point.
Realised that was an angle through the window. First time I've actually seen that. And you're completely right. I mean, it is damage limitation at this point, and when KD's irrelevant, you're kind of just playing the clock until the nightmare's over.
You think if Zenaku had a sleep paralysis demon, it would just be Rapha at the end of his bed? Just looming over it.
Giving him nightmares all the time.
Oh.
Horrible.
Oh yeah. What, just waking up to Rapha at the end of your bed?
Leading over.
Hey, no! Oh man. Yeah, I could see it happening. Oh, don't worry. Rapha's not real.
Yeah, so only 2 minutes left. Don't worry, Zenaku. He has again made it a competitive scoreline. He's done more than a lot of other players that have faced Rapha in the past.
Yeah.
Even Razy succumbed to a similar level of defeat on LAN in the finals.
And that was like back-to-back, if I remember rightly, as well.
Yeah,
which
double series.
Yeah, made it even worse for Razy to be on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
It still just rings true that Rapha's form is just absolutely ridiculous and how well he's been playing. He's still living up to that hype. Zenaku, though, getting a couple of frags towards the end of this game. He's showing that he can hit some shots still here.
Absolutely. Like again, it was one of these things where it's just nice to trot your way down to the lower bracket with your head held high. No shame in losing to Rapha. Obviously, don't want to be completely manhandled. You want to go out showing what you're worth. Because that is the key point, right? He's not out of the event. He's just out of the upper bracket for now.
Yeah, but you can still come back from that. Lower bracket crawls have happened from the best of the best.
Exactly.
I'm sure you spent a fair amount of time in the lower bracket, Dan.
What are we talking about, mate?
Hopefully Zenaku can channel some inner ZSX.
What, and lose to Rapha?
There we go. It is a shame, because like he actually did have a fantastic opening series that was stupidly close as well versus Maxter. He looks good individually at the minute. I think in terms of form for Zenaku, he is definitely in a great spot. Obviously, it's just when you come up against Rapha, this could very well be the last game of the tournament or your first. As soon as you run up against him, right, it's that you know if Rapha's in a Quake tournament, he is gunning for that first place. I mean, I literally spoke to him about it when we did the pre-show interviews, right? Like back on the rehearsal before we kicked off the show today. When I interviewed Rapha, he basically said to me, like, well, if I enter a tournament, I'm not happy with the idea of like, oh, I'm going to turn up and try and get a top 4. He was like, I either want to win or I don't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mentality you need to be the best. And if you've ever spoken to Rapha after he's played and not won an event, it's a miserable experience. And even watching his stream, even if he gets fragged in his scrims, he gets incredibly passionate about it. So to have that type of competitive mentality always means you're going to be in with a shout. And so that's why he won't ever relent, and he plays to be perfect, essentially.
Yeah, and sometimes he very much is. I mean, over the course of that one, he looked pretty damn perfect. Boys, obviously you got to enjoy that bit of art that was painted. Very pretty picture coming through from Rapha. What stuck out to you?
I mean, I think it went exactly the way anyone could have expected, right? A clear 2-0 victory for Rapha. And I think that one of the most impressive things of his play is just how he seems to have an answer to just about anything. Even when you are playing a light champion against a heavy and you're outstacked so massively, as you saw in the beginning on Blood Covenant, Rapha used that plasma train so expertly to just dodge the bull rush over and over again. Almost every single time that his opponent Zenaku went for it, Rapha just used that to get clear from all damage. So very much showing how quickly he can adapt and how he prepares for all these different variables. And then map 2, things went even worse for Zenaku. Map 1, he had a pretty decent start at the beginning, keeping things somewhat close for a while, but map 2 was just a Rapha show up until the very end.
I mean, I think we just got a perfect example of why Rapha is considered the level that he's at and why he's won Quake Pro League in the past. There really is not a huge amount else to take away from it, because we all knew what was likely to happen, and it happened, and that's really all there is to it. In Zenaku, he was able to get some frags, right, and have some moments of standout, I suppose, but ultimately we kind of expected Rapha to win, and he did that as dominantly as we thought so.
I think it's just incredible how he plays with such speed and confidence against the best players in the world, and doesn't look phased, and then always makes right decisions. It's just incredible.
Yeah, he played absolutely fantastically, obviously. For Zenaku now, though, that means he is knocked into the lower bracket and has a bit of a slog ahead of him. It will be a grind going forward, but a task that I'm sure he's certainly up to after seeing the bracket initially. Obviously, it would have been a hard task for him to get this upset win. And what an upset it would have been if he would have been able to overthrow Rapha. Instead, the timeline we are in means that Rapha moves on, and he'll probably have a lot of confidence coming off the back of that one. Still looking as good as always.
Yep, pretty simple really. He looks strong. Wasn't tested that much, but didn't really put a foot wrong either.
Yeah, and Zenaku, of course, remains in the tournament. Yeah, he went down against Rapha, but I think just about everyone in the entire league would, so obviously nothing to fret about. He managed to win his relegation match. He's still in the tournament. He just has to take the matches as they come and treat his next series as a completely different matchup.